We'll kick off today's show, where else but with the league leaders in the Premier League. Tottenham taking on Fulham. Goodness me. The Postecoglou dream continues. And with Arsenal dropping points, of course, at the week game in that draw against Chelsea, their North London rivals are now 2 points clear at the top of the table. And in fact, it was a record-breaking result for Ange Postecoglou, as he is the first manager in the history of the Premier League to get 23 points in 9 Premier League games. The first one ever, with his first time in the league and the first time matches to accumulate this many points. And also, this is a Spurs side that lead the Premier League in shots on goal and chances created. A lot of positive things then to say about Spurs as we're a quarter of the way through the season. As we welcome in Mario and Frank. Mario, what in particular is it that you like about Spurs at the moment?
I like, now you're watching a team that even when they don't have the ball, they are very calm. They don't care if you have the ball. They set up well, they're confident, and also the changes that he made, you understand? I mean, like Saka highlighted already, Richarlison coming from the left. Look, they have tried so many times to play him as a center striker, and at Everton he played that role, but then he was also coming out as a second kind of like a more attacking forward. But he started as a wide player first. Now they're playing wide as well. And he looks very comfortable. And we all know about Son. I mean, that's always been a threat. But it's, of course, Harry Kane, he left. But as a team overall, I was always interested with Basuma and Sarr in the middle. So for Højbjerg to come in and see that it did not dismantle the team in a way of balance, I thought it was a very good thing. And I could see that, they look very comfortable. And it's pretty enjoyable to watch, coming from a guy that supports the rivalry team.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it, Frank? Because I think, unless you're an Arsenal fan, you can't but be impressed with what's happening at Spurs and enjoy what you're seeing on the pitch.
Yeah, you have only to be fair, and what you see is spectacular, especially because of what we saw some years. Well, last year, the year before, and the year before, and the year before, that was appalling. And now that's almost with the same guys. You have a different football, as Mario said, very comfortable when they have the ball, very calm, but also the team spirit is spot on when they don't have the ball. They know exactly what to do. With Van de Ven and Romero at the back, they feel sure, secure, everything is there. And then you have the Son family, Richarlison, Son and Maddison, who does the job and does
very good, Frank.
do the job. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. It took me like 2 hours to get it. But it's you feel that, except maybe in the middle of the park where I found them that they couldn't find a solution. At first, the first half for like, I would say 20, 25 minutes, and they had to go on the side with Richarlison and Porro most of the time. But otherwise, I found them very structured. Again, very comfortable, very calm, and knowing that at some point they will get something out of it. And that's when you are top of the top. And they deserve to be first in the league because of the result they get, the way they get those results, and the professionalism that they show on the field.
It's easy to be tired and cynical for more of our pundits maybe than others, Shaq, but they're not here today. So it is nice to kind of have a positive outlook on this because you can only be impressed with what Ange Postecoglou's done.
No, listen, to Frank's point that he's getting this kind of a tune out of pretty much the same team from last season, I'll be honest, I thought this was a far less team than we saw last season. Coming into this season, Harry Kane's gone. You wonder who's going to fill that void. You replace Hugo Lloris with Vicario, who comes in and. Again, I'll be honest, I thought the first couple of games, he looked a little bit nervy. I thought he very well may have been a liability. I couldn't be any more wrong, especially on today's evidence. He made a save at 0-0. That was simply outstanding. He then made a second at 2-0 when Spurs were 2 up. That, again, was just simply incredible. And it shows, and of course, as a goalkeeper, I am seeing his confidence kind of bloom during the course of the season. As has everybody from Spurs. I thought Son started the season a little bit shakily, and then he scored that hat-trick against Burnley, I think it was, and hasn't looked back since. Richarlison is filling a need on the left-hand side and doing reasonably well out there when he'd struggled for confidence in both the white of Spurs and the yellow of Brazil. And he is getting, and has made a play out of Maddison. And we've discussed Maddison all season long as to whether he was good enough to play in a top four. And he is just pulling all the strings for Spurs. Yeah. So now you take a team that, and again, I'll only speak for myself, I thought was far less than the team of last season, and is improving these players individually, and Spurs are looking twice the team that anybody expected them to. Postecoglou has got to get a lot of credit. But at the same time, the players are just playing out of their skins right now.
Has James Maddison surprised you, Mario?
No, because I always liked him when he was at Leicester. And him coming to, we also have to understand, when we play in a team like a Maddison, the way he wants to play, he's very creative and try to dictate the tempo of his team all the time. When he was doing it at Leicester. Now he goes a step up. But then you have two guys behind you. I mentioned them before, Sarr and Basuma. If you have those two behind you, today he didn't play because, that Højbjerg played. But when you have two key guys behind you, it makes you very comfortable in the sense of like, if he lose the ball, those two behind me are going to handle my job for me. So I can think about going forward and the creative side. That's why he looks that comfortable. And that's why I think what Saka said, they could have maybe as individual, you understand, I can find myself in that, as individual, then maybe, there are maybe places that they could say they had, come on, we cannot forget the Kane job, what he did for so many years. But away from that, I think as a team, they look better as a team. And I'm not talking individuals, I'm talking as a team. The spirit is incredible in this team. So that's why sometimes we just have to wait, look, it's going great. If they can, weather the storm in December, then guys, we have to hold our hands up and say, this is a team, though.
How difficult, Frank, is it to defend this kind of Son-Maddison partnership?
You need to be very related to your midfielders as a centre-back. You have to make sure that you work together because Maddison just play behind Son, and sometimes they interchange their positioning, and it's very difficult because they're very mobile, they understand each other very well, they talk a lot, we can see that too, and they love the spaces between the midfielders and the defenders, and it's always hard to cope with that. And if you try to get a little bit closer as a defender to your midfielders, they will take the opportunity to get behind you and to go in the space. So it's always difficult when you play against very smart players. But I want to have a word on Fulham if you want, because it's for me it's about what we see in a modern football. I mean, you have a player who was a left back. His name is Basie, who had to play centre back on the right side decided from the coach. The guy is a left-footed, played on the right side, and then you try to play from the back. So two big mistakes. To help, and I think they didn't need that, to help Spurs, make me think that now they kind of kamikaze, They go for that, they go to know at that one point, and we saw also with goalkeepers, and Xhaka can talk about Sanchez or Raya doing the same thing. I agree to try to play from the back, but when you have a risk, and especially when you are not in your right position, why do you want to take a risk? I would have been Silva. I would have said, you know what, Basie, I put you there because I don't have the choice. Today, I have injuries. But please, never play from the back. Kick the ball very, very far. We play against Tottenham. That was insane what I saw today from Fulham.
Let's just go back to Spurs and let's address the big question.